after this massive purposefully driven reset of the markets. This was the biggest reset in all of crypto's history, my friends. So I'm sure just as you, I was also wiped out in my trades, but my spot bags are still sharp. I hope yours are too. Yes, we had trades. On my trades, I had 50% of my liquidity wiped out because of the positions of the stop losses. And, you know, truth being said, at the end of the day, leverage is gambling. Leverage is leverage. Okay. If you're using like 2-3x leverage, you should be okay. And I'll show you that in a moment, because actually my Ethereum trade didn't get wiped out, even though Ethereum also bombed out at this point. And the reason for that is because there was open space. Now, of course, I'm sure you're as pissed off about the markets as I am. And if you are, make sure to obliterate the thumbs up on the video. You know, honestly, I think we've been sitting here on the Crypto Bliss community and in crypto for weeks and weeks and weeks now. Somebody even commented, I mean, this is a month ago, we said it's time for meme season. Altcoins explosions. Banana zone has been activated 2 months ago. Trillions are incoming to, I mean, this is 2 months ago already, guys. And even here, 300, 3 months ago. So, you know, at the end of the day, to be very honest with you, we're actually seeing hardcore manipulation in the market. One of the biggest ever in all of history. This crash was bigger than COVID, and it was bigger than the FTX crash. Now, a couple things happened. Trump announced, while the government is closed, that there will be 100% tariff increase on China because of the feuds that China and America are busy going through. It seems as though there might be some misalignment and communication challenges that could be leading us down this sobby path. But truth be told, we'll have a look at the charts in a short moment. Are we at the point where we actually are bearish, or are we still very bullish? If you recall, FTX and COVID, the bottoms of those crashes was the violent volatility that we saw to the upside, where people actually made millions and billions there. I mean, even if you just come in and have a look at the cryptocurrency market cap, you can see that about 400 to 500, as per my thumbnail, $1 billion was actually wiped out of the market. 10% of the market dropped yesterday. Sure, that's the worst market crash I've seen myself, and I've been in crypto now. December will be my 6th year. But as you can see, there's always coins pumping. There are always coins pumping. But what you really want to look at here, my friends, is this moment right here. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit and focus on this. Yeah. Okay. So this here was, this here was the major COVID crash. If you see here, we went from market cap of $184 billion right down to 98 billion. So that's a 50% crash during COVID. But look what happened after, my friends. There was massive buying. A little bit of sideways capitulation here. Massive. Then all of a sudden, if you have a look, next thing, we have this major, from the COVID, rally right through. We had a huge dump and then another pump. Okay, so not only that, but if you take a look at the FTX crash, this was the FTX crash here. I think it was this here. Okay, this was a violent crash. But if we look at there, $871 billion to 555. That's another like 35-45% drop in the market cap. Now, I just want to show you that when we have a look at the chart, now bearing in mind, okay, this is the 4 hour. You can see I was wiped out, as I'm sure all of you were. We were wiped out. I'd actually like to go down to the 15 minutes and see where I was wiped out. Look at that. Whoops! And actually, it's so interesting because I had my stop loss underneath my Fibonacci area here. It was in profit, which I'm grateful for, but you can see that there has not been any more sell pressure at this point. Okay, right now this candle seems to be engulfing that candle at the 2.36 on the Fibonacci chart. Right now, if we go into the daily time frame, have a look here, my friends. The daily time frame, look at where we were. Whoops, smash right through. But we're still creating higher lows right here. Yes, the wick, yes, but that's a flush out. You must know that flush outs, they're only flush outs. It's like a black swan event here. Now, honestly, that's a death candle there. That is a Bitcoin flush of pretty much 17% and then a massive pullback up. But look at what happened. We're still remaining in this capitulation area on the daily time frame. And then when you start to zoom out to your weekly time frame, you're not looking like absolutely terrible now, are you? Right? At least my weekly tells me I sold at the top here, if this is the top, right? But what we do want to see is we do want to see this weekly candle, which closes tomorrow evening, close above this body of this candle. Because if this candle engulfs this candle, aish, is all I'm going to say, is aish. Then the likelihood of us coming back down, I mean, look at where we flushed out to, hey? Just have a look here. That's a very strong zone here. So I would not expect us to go any further down, but let's have a squiz here. Look at that line. Okay. It tapped down, it pulled back up above the support zones here. To be very honest with you, I would be very, very just patient here in this moment. Just be patient, because look at that. Those are signals. And when you actually come and have a look at the monthly time frame, it doesn't look all that bad. And the real truth is that I would not want my monthly candle to close like this. If we close like this, or in the red here, if we close in the green, we're extremely bullish. But if we close here in the red, I will give you a word of caution. Here is what happens when those types of candles close in the red. Okay? Mega pullbacks. However, with everything that is busy going on, this was just a major flush out. Because when you look at this candle did it at the bottom of an area. And then it all of a sudden rallied back up. I would not be selling, but I'm also not going back into trades. Right now, you can see my ETH is still 6x. My BTC USDC so that's USDT and that's USDC. Everything else was absolutely wiped out. But at least my coins took, some of them were on break even and some of them were below the entry levels, so the stop losses. So yes, I did get wiped out in some liquidity, my friends. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to slowly continue to accumulate the majors on spot bags, not trading at this point. We need confirmation that we will start to push up, and that confirmation starts off with tomorrow. And here are the following reasons as to why. Starting off with, this dump truly wasn't random. A coordinated manipulation hit the whole market. I totally agree with that. OG BTC Whale opened $1 billion short. US government shutdown. Trump announces 100% tariffs after the market closure. Altcoins dumped 80 to 95%. Literally, some coins went to zero, my friends. Zero. This was a calculated reset. Someone just made billions in a few minutes, and just like every time before, This type of dump ends with a violent V reversal and new highs. I totally agree with that. Check this picture here. Check this meme here. I love this meme. Tariffs beating down on leveraged accounts, but the spot accounts are actually just chilling hard, watching here what happens. Now, according to Rect here, Rect Fencer, this is where we are. I somewhat do agree, okay, because we have not yet had the belief in the market. There's very little, there's hopium, there's optimism, but there isn't belief in the market right now. So according to him, 31/10/25 is when the bull market ends, my friends. That's 20 days time. I don't know if we're going to do a 3x in the next 20 days, but it doesn't mean it can't happen. Okay, I still believe that whales are accumulating intensively, and I'm going to show you now that that's fact, not fiction. Okay, because public companies bought the second most amount of Bitcoin ever quarterly through 2005. So you can see here, they've bought 190,611 BTC in Q3 of 2025. That is the closest to buying in Q4. And then, of course, Q1. Then you can see here, this is where I mean, look at this. Look at this. This is just growing, my friends. And these are tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin that are being taken off the market that you're not going to get. Okay? So you best be not selling your Bitcoin. Okay? Do not sell your Bitcoin. That's just the most sensible thing to do right now. And Ethereum I'd put in that box too. And here's another reason why. Because Jack Dorsey says that Bitcoin will make the current financial system feel as irrelevant as the fax machine. Totally agree on that. Honestly, the fax machine, I had such a laugh with a couple people the other day about the fax machine. I mean, literally, people still use the fax machine in today, and I'm saying, well, email reminds me of the fax machine at this current time. And dudes, I'm only 38, so you know, it's very interesting to see this. I grew up with fax machines. But BlackRock just bought another 45,000 Bitcoin worth 5 billion at an average price of 105 during the crash. Now, isn't that so interesting? How on earth did BlackRock know, okay, and have $5 billion set aside? I mean, $5 billion is certainly not a chunk of change. It's a large amount. Where did they buy that from? Okay, but $105,000, they bought 45,000 BTC, meaning they're already up in profit. That 5 billion is probably worth 7-8 billion today. So they made billions in minutes, my friends. Okay, and even this man, US inflation is back above 2.2%. The Fed can't ignore this, and Powell is under pressure. And this man, Mr. Tom Lee, look at how he's smiling here, like a Chester cat. Tom Lee's Bitmine immersion just bought 23,823 ETH worth $103 million. Why would they be buying in a crash like this, my friends? Because they know something you and I don't. Okay. And the simple truth behind it is we were expecting a crash. We weren't expecting a black swan, but we were expecting a enough liquidity grab. But this was, as I said, the largest in all of history in crypto, my friends. And sheesh, it literally did a crazy wipe out there. But Trump has also announced that he has got an estimated $18 trillion in commitments and investments into America. This is huge, and they're putting America first. I'm not going to show you the video, but they just secured $18 trillion, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at $2.2 trillion. The cryptocurrency market is currently sitting at $3.8 trillion. Mr. T is heavily invested in Bitcoin and Ethereum and WorldCoin. What on earth do you think is going to happen, and where on earth do you think that money is going to go? It is going to be used partially for crypto treasury, crypto stability, obtaining Bitcoin. Gold is being prepared to be sold to buy Bitcoin. So I'd expect a massive sell-off, or at least a capitulation on gold and gold prices, right? So the last thing I want to leave you with, and make sure you are subscribed to the Crypto Bliss community, because tomorrow I got an awesome video out for you. I actually did that video before this crash, but it's still very relevant. And the reason it's relevant is because Bitcoin has been like 5,530 odd 32 odd days now in profit. It's 15.6 million% in profit, and we're still young, and we're having the largest accumulation ever happen at this point from institutions. So I want to leave you with this. This was a shit show. A lot of people get a little bit tetchy and have been getting tetchy, but honestly, I woke up this morning and I was so bleak and upset when I saw what had happened, because all the hard work that you and I have been going through, and other people in the crypto space have been going through. I mean, we're talking about massive influencers in the crypto space too. They're also bleeding just as hard as we are. Whales are even bleeding just as hard as we are. But the whales knew something we didn't. And that's how they were able to, like Binance, very likely, and could be conspiracy, but whatever, dudes. Binance tends to do such things, right? They liquidity grab, and then they stack up, and they don't let others come in because the exchange is down at the moment, but yet they're buying and accumulating those assets at much lower prices. I mean, gents, SUI, I mean, if we have a look at SUI here, it says we went down to 188, but actually on my Bybit chart, let's go look at Bybit. Yeah, there you go. On my Bybit chart, and remember this is the perpetuals, we went all the way down to 58 cents on SUI. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. My friends, I've been accumulating SUI on spot. So to be very honest with you, I'm not feeling the bleed on this thing right now. But holy smackadoodles. Okay. This is an epic moment in history for all of crypto. Okay. For all of crypto. That's one of the biggest candles and wicks I've ever seen. Okay. Now, don't go anywhere. Use my Bybit link down in the description of the video below. Grab yourself some Bitcoin on spot, Ethereum on spot, your large caps on spot, and then use that put that into your storage wallet, your cold storage wallet. That's the only choice. Thanks for being here. We'll see you on the next one. Sorry, the last thing I do want to leave you with is take a deep breath, but this is a time where you need to remove your emotion and actually take a step back, take a few deep breaths, and reset yourself, because this is actually one of the best opportunities to buy. This is a gift, technically. So yes, it was a very bearish event, but this is a gift to us in the market. So I appreciate it as much as I'm bleeding in my stash. I certainly appreciate it too. And I'm seeing that this will be the most major returns in all of history, in all of the financial history of the world. Thanks for being here.